Today, let's learn more about our sewing machine presser foot and needle to start sewing. Welcome, I do sewing and DIY related content, and this is the second video in a series where we are going over beginning sewing items such as the thread, the bobbin, and stitches. Today's video specifically focuses on our sewing machine with our needle and our presser foot, so let's get started. When you're first getting your sewing machine, you may notice there's a lever somewhere on your machine, and this is for your presser foot. So this controls it, it pushes it up and down. Sometimes you can lift it even higher. If you have very thick fabric, that can be really useful. The presser foot is what's coming into contact with your fabric though, so that when you start sewing, it has something that's kind of guiding the fabric along. So you can see the presser foot here is this little ability that kind of like moves up and down, and there's a little black button on the back of my sewing machine, and you can see when I press that, the presser foot then comes off. So definitely check with your manual to see how your presser foot comes on and off, but they are removable and you can attach and do different ones. So as you can see here that on my machine, it shows like if I click a stitch, there's a little icon with a letter, and that's telling me which presser foot to use for that stitch. Now, not all sewing machines are like this, so definitely be sure to check your manual for what type of machine you have so you can see if this is something that is offered. If not, it's just something good to know for like what type of stitch you're using. If you're just going to be starting off though as a complete beginner, highly recommend you're just going to be using that regular presser foot. Now, some machines do come with little accessory bags. So for example, on mine, it had the sticker on the front and there was a little accessory bag within this shelf, or this little cubby, if you will. And within there, you may see that there's additional presser feet. There may be some needles. So for example, I had this, which this is a buttonhole presser foot. So this allows you to actually sew buttonholes with your machine if you have that option available to you. And then mine also did come with a lot of different needles, which we'll be talking about a little later, why you would have so many different types and what their purposes are. Some machines also have the ability to be able to do like double stitch, so they may have those needles as well. And then mine had an extra spool holder, for example, if you're doing those like double threads, and then it had a seam ripper in it too. These will vary depending on what type of machine you have and what accessories came with it. And then as you can see, mine did come with different little thread stoppers, really depending on the size of your spool if you want to switch those out. Finally, my little accessory bag had other presser feet besides that buttonhole foot, so a lot of these serve different purposes, and definitely when you are starting to look into what you want to do, check it to see if there's a specific presser foot. For example, like if you're adding a zipper, you may want to use a zipper foot, as that's going to be a lot easier than trying to use your regular presser foot. So lots of different options available here, but as you can see, it's really important to kind of understand what your machine comes with. One thing I will say is that if you notice that like you lose a piece or you can't find one of those presser feet, do not worry. As long as you know what that model number of your machine is, you can actually order replacement parts. So as an example, I broke this spool holder in May, and I used the second one sort of as a backup option, as I'm able to put it on this like little bobbin, and then I was able to work as a way for me to get the thread. But because I knew that I had the model number, I could just order it online and get a replacement part. Now, for the presser feet, I just wanted to kind of quickly go over, there are so many different options available. So as an example, if you're somebody who's going to be quilting a lot, you may want to look into a 1/4 inch quilting foot or some sort of stitch guide that can just make it a little bit easier. There's even bias tape feet that will help you to sew the bias tape onto your quilts. So a lot of different options out there to make things a little bit easier as you work along. Now, if you're somebody who's doing more garments, maybe you want to have like a blind stitch foot or have some sort of leather foot. And then of course you do start to get a little bit more, if you're doing free motion quilting or free motion sewing, you may need to have a low darning foot. So lots of different options available. And as you really start to grow more into your sewing, you can figure out what is best for your needs. Now you can see here, this is my regular presser foot. It is nice and flat and smooth on the bottom just to help us glide over our fabric, and then does have that clear opening so that you can see, like where you are sewing. Now I have one that came with my sewing machine, so it came with the brother, and then this is just a generic option that I got offline. So just wanted to show you that if you ever lost one of those presser feet that came with your machine, you can buy replacement parts and you won't really run into too many issues. Now, besides the presser feet, we also need to talk about the needles. So the sewing machine needle is very important. So here's an example of one needle. They come in different sizes as well as the ability to work with different types of fabrics. So for this, there is a flat edge, and that's going to go towards the back of the machine, and then a rounded edge, and we'll talk about that a little bit more later. So as you can see, these are just some examples. So there's G needles, there's universal, and then there's a ballpoint needle. So most of the time, you're probably just going to be working with a universal needle, especially when you're first starting off sewing. There are numbers associated, and that's the size. So the bigger the number, the thicker the fabric you're using. If you're using just regular quilting cotton, you can probably stick with an 80 or a 90, but it really depends on what type of material you're working with. Now, if you are doing more with knits, you're going to want a ballpoint needle. A ballpoint needle allows it so that your fabric is not being snagged, since that knit fabric has a little bit of stretch to it. So depending on what you're working with, be sure that you do use the correct needle, and then the sizing is the same for those as well. So the smaller the number, the thinner the fabric. So if we go over to our sewing machine, you can see my needle here. So I have it unthreaded, and then there's a little screw. And what I'm going to do is I need to unscrew that. Now you can't really use your fingers, you're going to want to use a screwdriver. Sometimes if I don't have a screwdriver on hand, I will use like a flat seam ripper. Since my screw is a flathead, that works pretty well. And then I'm able to unscrew the needle, then I can take it out, and then I can put the new needle in. So again, remember there's a flat side on your needle, and then there is the rounded side. So the flat side is going towards the back of your machine, and you're going to put the needle as high up as it can go, and then we are just going to screw it back into place. So I do use my fingers to start off with, and then I will go back in and use the screwdriver or whatever I have on hand to tighten that up. You want to make sure it's nice and tight so it doesn't fall out while you're sewing. So the general guidance is you want to replace those needles after about 8 hours of sewing. I also feel like it could be good after really large projects are completed, just to put a new needle on to make sure it's nice and fresh. So now I'm just going to put my presser foot back on, and now we're ready to begin sewing. I hope this video was helpful. If it was, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and the third and final part of our series will be on troubleshooting. Thanks so much for watching.